Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Heidi, and I am joined by the always fabulous Arianne.
Hello, everyone.
Today we are talking about moon milk, which is a herbal drink, and also some other herbal powders, kind of natural remedies.
Nice. I've never heard of moon milk.
You know, I'm like mildly into like the natural thing.
Yeah.
Like Instagram-y, like sort of like pretty hippie stuff,
Yeah.
you know, like where it's like sort of pastel-y and people put crystals places and things like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I'm like kind of into it. So I don't know. Do you like some of like the natural medicine things?
I do. Like, yeah, I think like the natural healing, sage, you know,
Yeah.
cleanse your house out with sage, kind of gems, like to clear your like aura, stuff like that. I like stuff like that, but I've never heard of moon milk.
Okay, cool. All right, then I feel a little more better about knowing about this. Okay, so I had heard about moon milk because I'd actually read about it in a pretty big magazine publication.
Okay.
So Bon Appetit magazine did like a little section on moon milk, and they're like a pretty well-known food magazine. So I thought, well, I can probably take this seriously.
Yeah.
And if you're having trouble sleeping, there's kind of like the old idea that you can drink like warm milk before bed.
Yeah, I heard that was nasty.
Yeah. Moon milk is kind of like that. So, I mean, I don't know if you'd like it. But, like, for me, I'm like, I can just drink a glass of milk and not be weirded out. So I'm like, I could probably deal with that.
Yeah.
So I thought I would, like, look into moon milk. And it helps you sleep. But it's, like, a more natural choice as opposed to, like, melatonin tablets. Or something like that. Moon milk stems from... I'm trying to think how I can say it. It's Ayurveda.
Okay.
Which is a system of medicine. It has like historical roots in the Indian subcontinent, and it's basically like a type of like alternative medicine, which I'm using with air quotes as alternative.
Okay.
Or sort of like in the US we'd call it natural medicine or like herbal medicine. Mm. It's like kind of in that vein. And so about Ayurveda, there are some really old texts that describe this type of system of medicine, and like old tales will kind of say that it like the knowledge of it came from like the gods and then to the sages and then to the people. So that's kind of like the idea of where it comes from. And those practices are some of those practices are still used today in India and in other places like in that sort of area.
Right. I feel like they use a lot of like quote unquote natural things like that, like roots and plants for their medicines anyway.
Yeah. And this is like that.
Yeah, okay.
But it's just a specific type of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like some laboratory experiments suggest that like not all of them are like effective treatments, but there's also like sort of like a history of it helping.
Okay.
And part of Ayurveda, some of it is like treatments, like some of them have treatments for like surgeries, but then some of them are also more like lifestyle choices, like exercise and like use of herbs and like massage,
right?
And like things kind of like that.
So they have like a long study of how it benefits, or it's just what people are saying?
I didn't read anywhere that there was like a long-term study. But like for some short-term studies, some people say that it's not helpful, but then if you like were to go to like India, like I forget the statistic, but a huge portion of people do use some form of natural or alternative medicine there.
Right, sure.
So it's kind of like some people think that it helps for some things and some people would argue that it doesn't. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that you should completely get rid of, Western or
whatever helps you sleep
modern
at night.
medicine. Use your own judgment.
Yeah,
but
try it. If it doesn't work,
right, exactly.
Go back to what
and
you were doing.
I think it's interesting. I probably would say, maybe don't go to the surgeries if you don't really want to.
Yeah.
But if you want to go to like some of the lifestyle suggestions, I would say like it can't hurt.
Right.
And again, if it's not working for you, then just stop doing it.
Exactly.
Listen to your body. So some of the treatments of Ayurveda are like effective treatments for like vitality or like a healthy metabolic system, good digestion, and a lot of their theories, I guess, focus on like exercise, yoga, and meditation.
So how would they use it for those?
There might be some like massage techniques that people would use, or some like generally someone might say like, oh, you should try exercising more or exercise like this part of your body.
Oh, okay.
Like
they
an
don't
Ayurvedic healer.
Use it like an oil or something, or like a lotion for
that
massage
is also,
or something like that.
They might. I didn't look into like if they use a specific oil, but there are like different branches of the healing, and like there's one part that is surgery. There's like one part that is like the sort of like exercise part, and there's one part that's like herbs.
Oh, okay.
And things like that.
Nice.
So there are like the plant-based parts of it, and those are like herbs derived from like roots, leaves, fruit, barks, like seeds, like cardamom, cinnamon, things like that are used in this type of medicine.
Yeah.
I would say that in the US, most Ayurveda products are marketed, but they haven't necessarily been approved by the FDA. Okay. So again, if you're buying them, just be aware.
Yeah.
Again, use your own judgment.
Exactly.
As I'm sure I will say many times during this podcast.
Right.
So back to moon milk. So I have tried this drink before. I have found it helpful. I have not tried melatonin supplements, but moon milk felt like something that I was more familiar with because I'm like, oh, I drink milk.
Yeah.
I have all these spices in my spice drawer.
What does it taste like?
Kind of like milk, but like with spices in it, like cinnamon. Kind of like cinnamon.
So it's sweet. It's not like a weird,
it's
like
sweet.
A different kind of spice.
Yeah, and there's something that I'll bring up later, which is like kava. And kava's like, I think kava's bitter.
See, I have a bitter taste. Like I drink black coffee. I like dark chocolate. So I like red wine, and that's more like of a bitter taste. I love that. So kava is so good. We'll talk about kava later.
We'll get to that. Okay, because see, I don't like it, and I don't think this is like that.
Okay.
Because I was a little afraid to be like that.
Okay.
So I was like relieved when I tried it, because I was like, I don't want to waste all my time doing this. So again, I found it helpful. It's like a drink that's full of like herbs that help you sleep. And again, as I said, it's not like melatonin, and melatonin is a hormone supplement, and obviously moon milk is not. So if you don't want to introduce another hormone into your body, you might want to try moon milk instead of melatonin. Like, for example, if you're already on other sedatives you don't want to try, or you may not want to mix it with melatonin, or like if you're on a hormone medication like birth control, and if you increase the melatonin that your body's taking in along with the birth control, you might have too much melatonin in your body.
Right.
Because birth control, some do increase your melatonin, like the pills do.
Yeah, they increase a lot of things.
Yeah, they increase a lot of things. So if you don't want to like maybe like mess with that more, you may not want to take a melatonin supplement, so you could try this to sleep instead. Also, like if you are drinking a bunch of caffeine and then you're taking melatonin, that could mess with your body too.
Yeah.
So again, if you don't want to do that, this is like gentler. It's sort of like a tea versus coffee route.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and so I started using it. I only use it occasionally.
So how long ago did you start using this?
About maybe like a month ago.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of recent. And traditionally, moon milk is made with like whole cow's milk. But if you want to avoid dairy, you could also try like a nut or like seed
like almond
milk, like almond milk,
coconut milk,
something like that. Okay. Cashew, hemp milk. Some people do.
Yeah.
But typically, the reason that they use like a full whole milk is because of the fat in it that helps like bring out some of the like benefits of the herbs when you're like simmering it all.
Sure. Okay.
But then they also add in other fat into this as well. Kind of like ghee is a fat people might add in, or like coconut oil.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and in Ayurveda, that's like considered a good thing because like fat like protects your organs and like is something that our body needs. So there's not really like a fear of it as in like some other cultures. And also another thing in Ayurveda is they use, as I said, like roots and things like that, but those plant materials are like harder, like seeds and bark. So it's being cooked over low heat for like a length of time.
Okay.
And that is to like extract some of like the healing qualities from them.
Okay. So you have to prepare this. It's
Yes.
not just like you can go get it already, packaged or whatever.
No, unfortunately not. It's not like a Starbucks drink.
Go get some ingredients, guys.
Yeah, and for me, it was helpful because I already have a pretty big spice like
cabinet.
drawer. Yeah, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But again, I could see if maybe you don't, like if you don't cook a lot or something,
right?
This might be a little bit extended trip to the grocery store,
right?
Which again, whatever fits your lifestyle.
Right, but even if you do have to take a trip to the grocery store, those spices last for a minute. So I feel like even if you are going to prepare yourself some moon milk, the spices you get will last you like a month.
Right, and
more.
these are like good spices like cinnamon, turmeric, ginger, things that, you can use in other cooking that would be pretty good in other things.
Get a relationship with your kitchen, people.
Right, exactly. I would definitely suggest that for the Health and Wellness podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
You should do some cooking. And so we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk a little more about moon milk and give a recipe for it.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Welcome back to the Health and Wellness Podcast. We are continuing our topic of moon milk, and I just wanted to add, like I mentioned earlier before the break, that there is an addition of like fat, like ghee or coconut milk to this mixture, and that's kind of like bulletproof coffee is kind of popular right now, where you're also adding in fat to your coffee and blending it, and it gets like this like silky texture. That's kind of like what this is as well.
See, that sounds so gross to me because I'm a coffee drinker. Like every morning I drink coffee, just black, and that just you just ruin the taste of my good coffee.
Well, I think if you like black coffee, that would not be good.
Yeah, no.
But like I'm like, if I have to drink coffee, I'll do it like a latte where it's like mostly milk.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah.
I can get down with this. I would probably be fine with bulletproof coffee, but again, I can't just drink that much coffee. That's bad for me. I'm not a coffee drinker. It has very immediately addictive qualities for me.
Okay, it does.
So again, in moon milk, so there are a lot of ingredients like herbs, like cinnamon, turmeric, ginger. But another herb and an interesting ingredient that you might not have heard of before is ashwagandha.
I've never heard of that.
I had never heard of it either.
Ashwagandha.
Yep, I had never heard of it. I had to listen to people pronounce it to know how to say it because I had no idea just from reading it.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So this is what's called an adaptogenic root, in herbal medicine. And that's kind of like a natural substance that helps your body adapt to stress and other effects of your body to help you calm down.
Oh, that might be beneficial to my child.
Yeah. It's kind of similar to ginseng, which is another herb used in Chinese medicine or found in Korea and things like that.
Okay.
So it's a root, and when you buy it for this drink, it comes in a powder. Okay, so it's dried and ground down into a powder, kind of like flour.
Nice.
Yeah. And so this is a root that helps you sleep and it'll help you calm down. And it also apparently the root and the berry is used to make other medicines, but I had not heard about the berry.
Me neither.
But also to add on to ashwagandha, this is something that I looked up a lot of different sources, and I know people say don't just look at WebMD because it'll make you think that you're dying.
Yeah,
which it totally does.
Yeah, it does.
But I looked up ashwagandha, and it said that it's should be fine for short-term use, but there haven't necessarily been studies of long-term use, or it's not really suggested for long-term.
Is it addictive, or does it have long-term side effects or something?
No,
like that?
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it said it had long-term side effects, but more when people have seen it be effective is mostly in a short term.
Okay.
Some people are saying you can use this to treat ADHD, and then you have other sources that are well, we don't really have proof of that.
Yeah, okay.
So some people report that it helps in short term, but again, there's not a long term
Gotcha.
Proof.
Right.
But again, in the other thing that I'll mention, when we talk about kava, I did read some things on WebMD that again made me think that I was going to die. But that are related to kava, which again we'll talk about later.
Stop reading WebMD.
It's bad though. I spend so many hours well, now that I've looked this up, let me see about the common cold, how am I dying now?
No,
which
stop.
It's very scary. Just right in time for the holiday season.
I know, don't do it, people.
Halloween is scary enough. So for ingredients of moon milk, so for one serving for one person, they say to do a cup of whole milk, or again, you could do hemp, almond, cashew milk if you're lactose intolerant, or if you just don't
prefer the other, right?
Dairy milk. But you can also use 1%, 2%.
Okay.
Just regular milk. That's also fine. So then with the milk, it goes, let me read, that's a half teaspoon of cinnamon, half teaspoon of ground turmeric, and then you do a quarter teaspoon of the ashwagandha, or this recipe gave some suggestions of other adaptogenic herbs, which I want to say this is shatavari.
Yeah.
Which I did not look that up, but it's a similar thing that has calming properties on the body. Then you can do 2 pinches of cinnamon, a pinch of ground ginger, some ground nutmeg, and then a little bit of black pepper. And then you also will need a teaspoon of coconut oil or ghee and a teaspoon of honey.
Okay.
And this recipe is I got from Bon Appetit magazine, and because it's kind of healthy and an interesting sort of posh magazine, they're oh, you should use raw honey and organic coconut oil, which I'm
nobody wants to spend $50 for raw honey.
I'm this is just what comes in the little bear jar.
Right, exactly.
So I'm gonna go with this.
$2.50, okay?
Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna choose that. Maybe I'm choosing the herbal medicine route, but I'm still not gonna go that far.
Right. We can be a little frugal about it.
Right. I'm yeah. I mean, I don't even have a subscription to the magazine. I just found the recipe online. So I'm not going to splurge.
Okay.
I'm not going to splurge.
You can find anything online for free, though, now. Almost.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Right.
So for this recipe, you want to bring the milk to a simmer in a saucepan over medium-low heat. And then you're going to whisk in the cinnamon, turmeric, ashwagandha, cardamom, ginger, and nutmeg, and then the pepper. And what I've found is that you really want to whisk vigorously because you don't want any clumps. Because that's gross.
Right.
So you really want to whisk that in. Then you're going to add your coconut oil and then reduce the heat to low. And you just continue cooking that to get it all the way warm. And they say 5 to 10 minutes. And apparently the longer you go, the stronger it is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With tea, you steep it longer.
Yeah.
But when I've done it, it's I just want to go to bed. So 5 minutes is my minimum,
right.
Which has been fine for me. So 5 to 10 minutes, and then you remove it from the heat, let it cool, and then you stir in the honey. And if you're using raw honey, the reason they suggest you let the mixture cool a bit is because if you put in raw honey into something really warm, it gets rid of whatever the benefit is of raw honey. Yeah. If you're looking for pollen, you suffer from pollen allergies, and then you're taking local raw honey, which is supposed to help your pollen allergies. If you put it into really hot milk, that will go away. So if that's the route that you're going on,
just be careful.
Be careful, let it cool more.
Yeah.
Again, I just put in the honey and drank it. And so, then you pour it into the mug, drink it, and you climb into bed.
Nice.
And for me, what I've found, I think I've tried it twice, and I have found it to be calming.
Okay.
made me like sort of lethargic, and it made me just like want to go to bed.
Okay.
I was like laying in bed like trying to like watch a show or something, and I was like, I just want to turn it off. Like I had like just started.
Okay.
And so I found like it to be helpful in that way.
So how long did you think after you drank it did you were like actually asleep?
I didn't time myself. Maybe like 10 minutes.
Really?
It didn't like knock me out.
Right.
You know, like something just like immediately knock you out, like medicine.
Right.
Like more traditional, like Western medicine. This was like slower.
Okay.
Like it was weird. Again, this was kind of like Kava. Like the idea in my head just came in like, I should go to sleep now. You know, like
yeah.
It was like that type of like suggestive sleep.
Right. You are getting sleepy.
Right, exactly. So that's what happened to me, and I feel like my body got tired. Like my arm was like, all right, gotta reach over and turn off the TV. And I was like, it's so far.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
Mom.
I wish.
I know, right?
So I would say it's helpful for me. I mean, probably not for everyone. And who knows? Maybe if some of that was placebo, I'll still take it.
Right.
I mean, whatever gets me to sleep is cool.
I hear you.
Also, if you like the idea of moon milk and like the adaptogen thing, like herbal things that are like Instagram worthy, you might want to check out this company that I found while I was researching this. And the company is called Moon Juice, and it sells really cool looking like adaptogen products. They're not sponsoring the podcast. I just thought they look cool. It's just like very hip, like all their boxes have like the gradient colors on them of like a cool design scheme, but they sell a bunch of powders that have like these kind of roots like ashwagandha, or they have like other, they call them like super mushrooms, which I don't think are shrooms, but just like other mushrooms, not those kind, that are just supposed to like help like brain power or help give you energy, or like things that are mixed with like like matcha and things like that.
So you would have to buy them separate. Like, do they have a moon milk like kit?
They do.
Yeah.
So you could buy like a packet that will have something that helps you sleep, or they have like a packet that helps you like wake up, or like, you know, it's supposed to boost your brain function, things like that. And then they also sold some of the ingredients separately, like if you want like the mushroom powder thing, and that's like separately. And they also sold like some like facial oils, things like that. So it's like, okay, this is cool.
Right.
So if you're interested in moon milk and, you know, maybe you find that it's helpful, the company Moon Juice is also cool. And I thought, you know, it looks cool. Christmas is around the corner.
It is.
If someone wants to get that, you know,
is it expensive?
If you have a friend,
because I'm super cheap.
Yeah, I think it probably is expensive if you're going down the like healthy organic route.
Well, that's always a little pricey.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, if you have a friend who has like the salt crystal candles and you have some extra money, maybe buy them one of these packets from this company.
I'll write down the ingredients and give that piece of paper to you for Christmas and be like, here, try this.
I think it worked.
Yeah.
So we're going to take another break, and then we're going to come right back and talk about some more natural and herbal powders and remedies.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
welcome back. We are ending our health and wellness podcast today. We're going to talk about some other herbal plant powders, kind of like ashwagandha. But I wanted to mention with the moon milk, because you're using turmeric, it does look yellow when you're drinking it, and it kind of has like a rich texture. So if you look at it and you're like, I'm drinking a yellow, like viscous liquid, yes, you are. And it's supposed to look like that.
Okay.
And I would say if you're drinking it, at least what I found is before, like if you let it cool, put the honey and let it cool, right before you drink it, I would suggest stirring it up kind of like with a fork. Mm-hmm. And that way, not all of your like powders are sinking to the bottom, because then you get this like weird, gross sludge at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like if you don't mix like matcha powder well, you kind of get that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say mix it up before you drink it. And if you look it up on like Instagram or like on Pinterest or something, you look up moon milk, you'll see these like really pretty looking like blue and pinks, and those are achieved by adding like rose petal like powder or like I forget how you make it blue. It's like pea shoot powder or something, or like green with like spirilla, and people add in a little bit of a different powder to change the color so it doesn't look yellow.
Yeah. When
like
I first saw it, I was like,
turmeric,
what is the yellow? Why does it look
right
weird?
It looks kind of weird. So if you don't like the yellow, then you don't have to put in the turmeric. You can put in a different powder like lavender flowers or something like that.
Lavender's good. It's calmer.
Right. So if you wanted to do that, then you could, but then you wouldn't have the benefits that turmeric has, but whatever. So, do it to how you find the most aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
If you choose to try. So some of the other powders and like herbal remedies that we're talking about, the first one is maca powder. And I had heard of this before. I had a roommate who used it. She actually put it into bulletproof coffee.
Okay.
And it's supposed to like increase like vitality and like energy. It's getting more popular recently. It's a plant that is native to Peru, and it is very available like in a powder form, but also in Peru it's traditionally eaten just the root part, because that's what is ground into a powder. And so like that is like harvested, roasted, and eaten kind of like a potato.
Okay.
So some, like, again, I WebMD'd this, and a lot of people argue that because it's a huge part of a Peruvian diet, like where they eat the roots, it's not like dangerous because people for, many years have been eating this.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily prove the benefits that it claims. Science has, like, experiments have not been done to prove that this is like certain, like guaranteed effects. But it has been said to help with energy, stamina, enhance sex drive, and kind of like just give you energy.
Yeah.
And if you like
in a natural way.
In a natural way. Yeah. And again, if it's cooked, not dried, it can be eaten like a potato, but if you dry it, it comes in a powder kind of like flour.
Okay.
And that's how it's mostly exported, because you can kind of only grow it in this certain mountainous part of Peru. So if you're getting it in the supermarket in the US, you're going to get it in like a powder that comes in like a little packet. So if you're taking it, most people take it orally, like put it in a drink or something, and that it claims to help with like female hormone imbalance, menstrual problems, like symptoms of menopause and things like that.
Oh, wow.
And I have heard just like through word of mouth that people have said it's helpful. But I mean, I don't know if it's something that you would use every day or just kind of like occasionally.
Right.
But people use it. They put it in coffie mostly is what I've seen. Like smoothies, things like that.
I'm gonna have to try that for some things.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into it because then it's just like, what are you going to try it for? No,
I mean, when you put it out there.
Yeah, you gave me the benefits. I know what they are.
You can just come back and report it to us later.
Talk to someone special and be like, look, we're going to try this.
I've actually seen it in like Trader Joe's, like in like their health aisle. So I think it's pretty widely available. So then the last powder that we're going to talk about is kava, which is like a beverage that is, or a beverage or an extract that is made from a plant native to the Western Pacific Islands.
Yes, it is.
And I know that, like, for me, so I live in Davis, California, and they have a kava bar. And so, like, that's how I came across it. And I was like, a kava bar? What the heck is this? The windows are all blacked out and you're only open at night? Like,
kava is
that's
amazing.
Weird. So then I went in and tried it. I think it has a bitter taste, which I don't like.
Yeah.
But if you like bitter, like Arianne, then you might like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, Arianne, do you like kava? What are its effects on you?
I wouldn't drink too much. Like 1 cup will do you good. Yeah. So like take it sparingly. Don't just think that when you first try kava, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I'll take a few. No. Take 1 cup, see how you feel after that, because it does have a different effect for everybody. And I remember when my brother first tried it, he was like, oh, he had downed like 2 cups of kava and he was like laid out.
Yeah, it's super relaxing.
It is, yeah.
So it relaxes you, and it's like consumed in the South Pacific, kind of like a popular drink, sort of like alcohol is in some societies.
And it gives you that sense, like almost as if you're drunk. So but it's from a root though. Like it's natural, and so it's not like, you know, processed alcohol or anything like that, but it does kind of, it gives you that sense of like drunkenness, so it will lay you out like as if you just passed out because you were super drunk. Right.
And I know that some people said, like, if you're trying kava for the first time, don't drive immediately afterwards.
Yeah, no, don't.
Like, just like relax. And it just like makes you like relaxed and sleepy. Yeah. And I know you can take it in like a tongue melt kind of thing, or like a gummy, or you can drink it. It's like a white sort of milky looking liquid. And then I can't remember, what is it like? The first time you drink it, you might need more to feel the effects, but the more often you drink it, the less you need.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like that.
But it's like one of those ones that like you're drinking it and you're like, oh, I don't feel anything. And so you think you want more, but then it all hits you. Like it sneaks up on you. Like you drink and then you're just like, oh, wow, it all just hit me at once.
Yeah. And I think you're supposed to, if you drink it the first time, you drink it and then you wait.
And
then you wait to see the effects, and if you feel like you want more, then you can try more, but you have to wait
a certain
amount of time. Right. Yeah. And if you go to like a kava bar, they'll tell you that. They'll ask you, is this your first time?
Exactly.
I mean, for me, it just kind of made me tired, which was, you know, it was okay. It was an okay experience. But it depends on what you're looking for.
Right. And it has different effects for different people, just like, you know, your normal, you know, other beverages. Like some people will say they get a headache and they just isn't for them, or, you know, it made them feel a certain type of way, so they're like, oh yeah, I really like it, or no, I really didn't because I was like paranoid or something. I'm not gonna say it like it's gonna make you paranoid, but some people just get that way even when they drink like regular alcohol or wine, or, you know, do something like that. They're just like, no, I can't do that anymore. It's like, okay, well, calm down, you'll be fine.
Right.
Just sleep it off.
Yeah. It just made me really lazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to try kava, it can be kind of fun. It's a social drink.
Right. Try it with friends. Yeah. That's what I was just going to say. Try it with friends. I know in the traditional sense in South Pacific, like the men will enjoy it together and the women will enjoy it together. So they don't really like mix, you know, like mix and mingle.
Yeah. I could see that. That'd be fun.
So the men, they go over and do their thing and do the men talk, and then the girls do the girl talk. So it's a fun social drink. Take your girls out, take your boys out, you know.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
So again, before I get hate mail, I am not a doctor. I'm just saying I thought these topics were interesting, and you know, if you're kind of into herbal medicine or want to give it a try, I would say go for some of these things. They're popular. You know,
definitely do your own research first.
You know, if you feel uncomfortable, do your own research, and I would suggest trying them on a short term or as needed basis. I would not say this is like a lifestyle that I am promoting that you do.
Right. Just try it here or there.
Yeah, exactly, as you need it. So thank you guys so much for listening. I think that's going to be the end of our show, and we hope that you tune in to our next Health and Wellness podcast episode.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.